Botox. Where did it come from? How does it work? And why does it make me feel weird? These are all questions I'll be exploring in my first YouTube video in a very long time. Let's talk about Daddy Botox. They don't call him that. The father of Botox, if you will. Dr. Alan Scott. Actually, you know what? Let's go back even further. Botulinum toxin was first discovered in 1897 after a group of Belgian musicians fell ill after all eating the same, meat? Smoked ham after performing at a funeral. Somebody thought to send the ham for analysis to a university. You don't care about this. U.S. scientists during World War II isolated and purified the bacteria. It didn't have anything to do with World War II as far as I know. Maybe it did. History buffs, hop in the comments. And then comes this guy named Dr. Alan Scott in the 1970s. He started investigating the toxin as a possible treatment for eye impairments because he was, say with me, an ophthalmologist. 1978, the first tox injection in an attempt to treat the eye muscles after surgery for retinal detachment. Yuck. Not for me. Hopefully, I don't want that. I hope that doesn't happen to me. And I hope it never happens to you. Hop in the comments if it's happened to you. And then in the 1990s, Botox explodes in popularity because people are realizing, oh my God, this will freeze our face muscles and make us look younger. And then in 2002, it got FDA approval. It really hasn't been around for that long. FDA approval less than 25 years ago. It's basically how old I am. Not really. And how does it work, you might be wondering. Actually, how does it work? Because people get it all the time and it's like, do we forget what it's doing? It's paralysis. I don't like that. Paralysis typically not known as a good thing, but suddenly with the tox, we're all set with it. We feel fine about that. Botox targets the connection between nerves and muscles. It blocks the release of a chemical messenger called acetylcholine, acetate chlorine, not that one. It paralyzes the targeted muscles so that you can't move them. You might be thinking, wow, this girl can really move her eyebrows a lot. I know. I grew up in the suburbs. There wasn't much to do. I spent a lot of time just kind of figuring out how to do this in the mirror. Kids love it. I only found out this next part because my cousin is a plastic surgeon. Shout out Natalie. This is from an article in Allure. I'm going to read from it. There is a tiny town in Ireland called Westport. It has a population of about 5,000 people. About 1,200 people work at a plant on the edge of town. It's owned by the drug company Allergan, and since 1994, it has produced all of the world's Botox. The product is the process by which it's produced, so that process is passionately guarded. Here's what I'm allowed to tell you. It starts with what Coffee calls the source drug, botulinum neurotoxin type A. It then travels to Ireland from an undisclosed location in the US on a private plane with security detail. Sounds cool and normal to me. A single gram of the toxin, evenly dispersed and inhaled, would kill more than 1 million people. All at once? Everybody's got to inhale it at the same time. I don't love that factoid. In 2023 alone, more than 8.8 million Botox injections were performed worldwide. I remember when I was a kid, Botox was something that you would only hear about celebrities getting. You would kind of make fun of them like, he's had too much Botox, like Tom Cruise and whatnot. And now it really feels like it's everywhere. It really feels like it's everywhere, and it brings me out. Really cool fact that I super duper love is that in 2023, 94% of Botox treatments were administered to women. Very cool. Very cool. Loving that. Someday women will be allowed to age, except maybe not. With the way things are going, we will always be forced to be frozen in time at an age where it looks like we could reproduce. That's really what it is, isn't it? Why is it so important that we look like we can reproduce? That's where value lies, isn't it? Think about it. Here's some of the stuff that really freaks me out. I found a couple studies. There is one study that says that Botox participants exhibited an overall significant decrease in the strength of emotional experience because Botox targets the connections between your face and your brain. Your brain and your face are supposed to talk to each other. But when Botox freezes your face, it scrambles the messages between your brain and your face. And so it means that you don't feel things as deeply. Oh, I'm hating that. I'm really hating that. Here's another one. There was a small study that found that Botox injections to a person's forehead may alter the way that their brain interprets and processes other people's emotions. Because when we see someone, we're looking at someone and they look sad, you unconsciously mimic their facial expression. If they look angry, maybe you look angry. But if you see someone who looks sad and you can't furrow your brow, or you can't move your face at all, it scrambles your brain's ability to process what that person is thinking and feeling. Relatedly, I have seen 2 women online recently describe the experience of getting Botox as feeling claustrophobic.
That's what you paint the ductwork with. It's expensive.
So for the first time in my life, I get Botox. It felt like the muscles were just weak and still trying really, really hard to move my eyebrows. And it made me feel claustrophobic. And I had insane headaches. My face was working so hard to keep moving my forehead, and couldn't.
They were unable to move their faces in the way that they were used to after getting Botox, which is the whole point of Botox, but it made them feel claustrophobic. And that word is really what freaks me out. I just think people are so casual about messing with their own faces. That's your face. You know, that's your face. I know it's easy for me to say because I'm kind of famously one of the most beautiful women in the world, but it's your face. We are optimizing for consumption rather than expression. We are optimizing for people to look at us rather than for us to be able to do what we want, say what we want, express our faces how we want. There are tons of examples throughout history of people, mostly women, going to extremes to fit a trend. I mean, think about wearing a corset or a giant hoop skirt or binding your feet or eating little arsenic wafers so that you look really pale. That's a real thing that happened. Very cool, very cool, very cool. But in the past 15, 20 years, there has been a shift to make those processes internal to your own body. Like you can take off your corset at the end of the day. You can't take out your Botox at the end of the day. And yeah, it wears off in 3 to 4 months, but the whole point is that you keep getting it. And the whole point is that it's inside your face. That's what's so freaky to me. We've started internalizing these things and they're just becoming more permanent and they're becoming a part of us. For the 3 to 4 months that Botox is effective, you can't move your face. You can't take it off. Why are we being so casual about this? And what is it doing to young women as young as 20 when they start getting Botox at such an early age before their whole prefrontal cortex is developed? Like if you were paralyzing your muscles before your brain is fully formed, is that stopping you from being able to feel all your feelings deeply enough? I'm so serious about this. Just lobotomize me now. There's an argument that I think gets a little slippery, a little hairy, where people say that Botox is gender affirming care. And I'm like, is it though? Because if the point is to freeze your face to look younger, age and gender don't have anything to do with each other inherently, except that we've come to associate femininity with youth. And that's the connection. So it's like men get Botox. Is that gender affirming care? Like, no, that's just a cosmetic procedure. And I think we can start to be honest about what gender affirming care actually is. And yes, it's a spectrum and it can be really hard to define. I don't think that Botox is gender affirming care because gender and youth are not inherently intrinsically linked. There's like this uncanny valley thing that starts happening, especially when maybe you're watching a show like Selling Sunset. All love to those ladies. Actually, I don't know them. I feel nothing for them. All of the people on that show have had so much Botox that even when they're like crying, their faces are frozen. I think nonverbal expression is a huge part of being a person, right? Think about if like, you know, a dog that seems very like humanoid. Like I had a dog growing up and we would always be like, we expect her to start talking to us any moment because she would make these like facial expressions or what we perceive to be facial expressions where she would be like smiling or like looking at us expectantly. That is a kind of nonverbal communication that we ascribe to humans because it's a very human thing to do. If we are robbing ourselves of the ability to communicate nonverbally, we're robbing ourselves of our humanity. Sorry, that's what we're doing. Who would I be if I couldn't do this, you know, or I couldn't do this? When Botox was discovered and popularized, it was like, holy shit, we found a way to keep women looking young forever. This fucking rocks. Let's go. And like, I absolutely do not blame individuals for getting Botox. Like it's everywhere. It's so pervasive. And if you look younger, you do legitimately maintain social capital, right? I know that one day I'm going to age and I'm going to lose, like people are going to treat me very differently. Women's appearances are so inherently tied to our value, our social capital, but also our things like our careers. Anyway, if you're thinking it's not that deep, I disagree, but I've never known how to be normal about Botox. So I want to know what you think. And also, what do you think of my first YouTube video in a long time? It feels really vulnerable, I'm not gonna lie. I've been on YouTube since I was a teenager, making little videos in my room, and now I'm a grown-up making videos in my room. Some things never change. Okay. See ya.